Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for watching today. This is 8 Minutes with Chef Mel. I am Chef Mel and I have a small food business here in Winchester, Massachusetts. I do some private chefing. I have a food vendor bike. I do classes for junior chefs and adults. And I also have a home bakery, which is a lot. But today I am joined here in the WinCam studios with my friend Rebekah from Wright-Locke Farm. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm going to have Rebekah, she's going to demonstrate a few really cool, really easy, healthy recipes for us today. So I'm going to actually turn it over to her and let her roll with it.
Perfect.
So off you go.
All right. Thank you very much. Just like Mel said, today I'm going to focus on two greens-focused recipes. They are both technically raw. One is a dehydrated kale and chard chip, and the other is a berry greens smoothie. And I like doing these two recipes a lot because we use them at our farm programs, especially in the summertime, and they are totally kid approved. I am blown away by how kids who otherwise would not eat green vegetables, especially leafy green vegetables, they will eat them if they are in these forms. So to get started, I figure I will start with the kale and chard chips. We've got some rainbow chard and some beautiful green curly kale, which will be available locally come June, sometimes May if you're lucky enough, but definitely in June here in New England. These are full of nutrients. They've got calcium and fiber, vitamin A, vitamin K, sometimes vitamin E, especially in things like collards. But all we're going to do with these greens in order to prepare them to dehydrate is first to rinse them. After you've rinsed them, which I have already done, I like to use my hands, clean hands of course, to tear them up into chip-sized bites, which I would say this is a good size for our chips today. And I'll just drop them into a salad spinner because dehydrating is literally removing water from whatever it is we're sticking into our dehydrator, which we've got right over here. But in order to make sure we are being healthy, we want to always rinse our food off, and then we want to salad spin it to try to remove as much water as possible. And let's see. And this is actually something kids can do. I have preschoolers do this for me. Preschoolers and kids older than that, they can all make this all by themselves practically with a little guidance. All right, and then I'll just quickly also do the same thing with my chard. I know I haven't been mentioning it, but all I'm doing is ripping off the nice leafy part from the central stem. And technically you can definitely eat chard stems, but for this recipe today I'm not going to use them because we're looking for that leafy part. All right, I'm going to do one more leaf really quick. I love rainbow chard, not only because it's so good for you, but also because it's so colorful and beautiful. So for our salad spinner, this is something little kids love doing. Like, break it. Now we've got slightly more dry greens, which we will then toss into a bowl, which of course I'm going to use one of the bowls I didn't expect to use. The next step is I'm going to take some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, which is super duper healthy for you. It's got lots of antioxidants, lots of vitamin E and K, and it's high in monounsaturated fat, which is great for heart health. And it makes things taste good. Helps you absorb the nutrients that are in the leafy greens we're about to cook with. Now, I am a big fan of eyeballing ingredients, but I will say for the amount of greens we have, which is a small bunch of greens, I would recommend 1 to 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which again, I'm just kind of eyeballing. And all you need to do is toss your greens in the olive oil so they get nice and coated. They get a little shiny. You don't really need to massage them. You can kind of try to keep them as unbruised as possible for this particular recipe. Once you've got them coated with olive oil, you're going to grab a tray from a dehydrator. Now this is a very basic dehydrator, pretty small, but it gets the job done just as nice as a big one. All you're going to do is lay your pieces of leafy greens on in an even layer so that none of them are overlapping. And that way all the nice warm air that's going to circulate around them will remove any water that's inside of the leaf, which is going to make it nice and crispy. But the cool thing is that we are going to be dehydrating at a lower temperature than what you would use in an oven. So it's technically not going to cook these. It's just going to remove water and give them that same kind of crunchiness that you would get if you were to put something in a hot oven, but without burning it, which is awesome. A lot of people try to make kale chips in their oven and it burns them and they don't taste very good. So once you load up all of your trays, just like this, I do recommend, you don't need to, but again, for deliciousness, I recommend a nice sprinkle of salt. And then you'll just stack each tray over the other. And you'll set your dehydrator on, if you want to cook your chips at a lower temperature, I recommend 135, which most dehydrators go up to 160 degrees because if you want to make things like jerky, you have to go up to 160 degrees. But since we're just doing vegetables, we can set it at 135 or 140 degrees for about 2 to 3 hours, depending on how hot and humid it is. And after they've been drying for that long, you will get some beautiful dried kale chips.
So, Rebekah, these look so good, and
Yes.
I'm actually a huge fan. So I'm so glad that you were able to come out and kind of demo this.
Yes.
I don't have a dehydrator, so I'm definitely one of those people that are doing it in the oven.
Yes.
And I think I have to put this now on my shelf. I know. It's easy, but I definitely have to keep my eye on it all the time.
Yes, and this is one of those you can set it and forget it. And,
Yeah.
and if you, for some reason, it goes an extra 2 hours, it's just going to make it a little more dry. It's not going to burn it. It's so fail-proof. It's
okay,
awesome.
it's like another gadget on my list that I need to have now. So we're going to wrap up for this for now, and I can't thank you enough for coming by and doing this, which is so great. And thank you guys for joining us, and stay tuned.